thank you guys for coming today. How many undergrad do we have? Okay, any graduate? All right, good. So does everyone know what they want to do after 4 years, 3 years here? Anyone? One person? Good, that's how I felt my first lecture at Bentley too. I had no idea. So first I want to tell you kind of a little bit about me. So when I was at Bentley, I graduated back in 2002. Many of the buildings you guys have today, I paid for, I didn't actually have here. I didn't know what I wanted to do either. So when I first came here, I was an accounting major. Any accounting majors? I dropped right away, too hard, too many rules. I just didn't get it. I transferred to finance. Any finance majors? I stuck with finance because I liked it. It was like accounting, but a little bit more flexible. Not so many rules to follow. I also minored in computer information systems, so a CIS minor. Any CIS students? There's one. So what I learned is when I wanted to come out of school in 2002, I wanted to be balanced. I wanted to have both the business and technology focus. And throughout my career, if you look at the logos after when I graduated, 20 of my 22-ish careers in the workforce, I worked for small tech startups. And so my technology, my minor actually played a more critical role in my career than my actual major, right? So my recommendation for you guys is, if you're not sure what you want to do, have a balanced portfolio, a balanced resume as you enter the workforce, right? Right now, since 2019, I'm working at a company called LeanIX. Anyone here heard of LeanIX before? That's what I expected. So they were founded in 2012, headquartered in Germany, and we're a technology company. We provide a software to enterprise organizations to help them understand their IT infrastructure. Before I jump in a little bit there, anyone familiar with Glassdoor? What have you guys used it for?
Not much, but I've heard of it.
Okay, you? Heard of it? Okay. When you are about to graduate, Glassdoor is a great reference and research tool for you. It gives you insight into companies, right? So as an employee of an organization, I can go in and anonymously give my feedback, positive or constructive, about the organization, right? It has like an employee rating. Do you support the organization? What's good about it? What's bad about it? Do you support the vision, the mission, the CEO? It also gives some benchmarks in terms of, hey, what are other people making, right? Salary benchmark data. It's pretty informative what you can find out there. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt. If an employee was fired, they'll probably get a bad review, right? That's just going to happen. But the majority is, what you'll learn over time. So what they do with a lot of data, you can also post jobs to that website, is every year they come out with best jobs in America, right? They didn't publish a 2023 version for some odd reason, so we're going to go back to 2022. Anyone guess? I'm going to show you the top 10. Anyone guess top 10? Give me one job title, one role. CEO? Anyone else? How many people think a dentist is on the list? Okay. Accounting major. Where were you? Is an accountant on the list? Finance, financial planners. Must be on the list, right? Yeah. So if we look at the list, it's surprising. Enterprise architect, by the way, that's the customer we serve. Full stack engineer, data scientist, DevOps engineer, strategy manager, machine learning, data engineer. What do all these have in common? They're tech roles, right? So my statement at the beginning, all companies are tech companies, is really supported by data point number 1 here. The market is telling us they want to hire people with a technology background, right? Engineering, DevOps, enterprise architect, solution architect, product manager. They're all technology focused, less business focused. Any questions there? Are you guys surprised by this list? Back when I was graduating, you would have saw accountant, financial planner. That's why I wanted a finance major, right? All my buddies who were financial planners were getting bonuses when they graduated. In 2002, when I came out, the market crashed. I didn't have any bonuses. Data point number 2, Fortune 500 companies. You guys are all Bentley students, 10K filings. Who can name top 5 Fortune 500? Just shout them out. Name a company. That's big. You think might be top 5. Google. Good guess. Meta. What kind of phones you guys have? Oh, there's one.
Samsung.
Samsung.
Nope.
Okay. Let's take a look at the top 5. First is Walmart. When you think of Walmart, what do you think of? What type of company? What's that? Brick and mortar, exactly. Retail chain, brick and mortar. I know you can't read this fine print, but what they talk about here is where they want to invest in the upcoming year, right? And a lot of this is not into brick and mortar, building more stores, building more online presence. It's really how do we become innovative and be a more tech-centric organization, right? Number 2, Amazon. Who shops on Amazon? Online retailer, first thing you think of. However, if you read their statement about what we want to invest in the coming years, they don't talk about online purchasing, right? They talk about investing more in technology, being innovative with technology, being first to market, being a digital-first company. Everyone had Apple phones, right? Except one guy over here in the corner. So Apple, again, what do you think about when you think about Apple?
Hardware.
What's that?
Hardware.
Hardware, yep. Phones, hardware. Yep. So again, you don't think about under the hood, they're a technology organization. They talk about, again, being innovative, being first to the market. Number 4 is CVS. CVS here talks about a CIO role. So last year was the first year they introduced this new role called the Chief Information Officer. Anyone know what that person is responsible for? They're responsible for the technology strategy of the organization. Where do we invest into technology, into our data, into our privacy? And so this role is not your Chief Financial Officer, which is responsible for the money. This is, hey, how do we become a stronger, faster organization by investing into technology, right? CVS didn't have this role prior to last year. CIO, Chief Information Officer, is our number 1 customer champion. So that's who we work with on a daily basis. So CVS just hired that role last year because the focus is, hey, we need to be doing what other organizations are doing. We need to invest and focus in the area of technology strategy. United Healthcare. When you just read the name alone, you think of healthcare, right? Maybe pharmaceutical, maybe doctors, health providers. Here they're really talking about cloud computing, information technology, and taking those to support excellence in clinical trials, right? But they want to start with technology to make their business better. So there's 2 themes here across these 5, and if you read more of the top 10, I bet you catch a part of technology investment, a digital first, in all, Fortune 500 companies. At LeanIX, we have about, 60% of the Fortune 100. So 2 themes that came across in those top 5 were innovation and technology, right? And all 5 companies brought the 2 together. We want to be innovative in technology. So think about innovations. We did a survey with our own customers, and we found that 84% of CEOs believe innovation is critical to growth. So a lot of organizations are talking about, yes, innovation, we need to invest there, right? But you look at the results, only 6% are satisfied with their performance. Why do you think that is? Any guesses? Why can't companies innovate?
It's hard.
It's hard. Yep.
There's always more going in the future.
There's what?
There's always more to innovate, so you can never really stop.
Yep. Innovation is continuous. It's not a one-time project. Yep. Did you read one of our slogans? That's what we kind of say, by the way. Anyways. So one is it takes time. It's hard, right? But it takes time. It never ends. Things that take time cost what? A lot of money. So it takes time. It's expensive. And if you fail at innovation, it's risky, right? So there's risk, there's money, and there's time. And so part of what we do at LeanIX is when we look at an organization and look at their IT strategy, what they're doing, what they're not doing, we help companies optimize where to spend money, find where you can innovate that's less risky in a short amount of time. So those are the three things we kind of harp on is, hey, how do we reduce cost? How do we increase speed? And how do we decrease risk? Make sense? My part is over. You want this? Or do you want that?
All right, can everybody hear me? Good? All right, cool. All right. So I have a little slide about myself as well, like Bob did. My name is Danielle Murphy. I graduated from Bentley as well in 2019. So just coming up on the 5-year anniversary of my graduation, which is crazy. I have a bit of a non-traditional route to where I'm at right now as well. Very similar to Bob, but different path here. So I grew up in New Jersey, not from Massachusetts originally, but I settled up here. Originally, when I was in 8th grade, I thought I wanted to be a writer, which is kind of funny because I think a lot of the students at Bentley would say quite the opposite, right? So I applied for this program when I was in high school. It was like a satellite school called the Scholar Center for the Humanities. If you've ever seen Malcolm in the Middle, the class was quite like his class. So I had about 3 writing classes a day for 4 years. And during that time period, I realized I do not like this. I don't want to do it. So I looked for business schools to attend, and I landed on Bentley. I think my background in that area, though, really served me well, no matter where I went after school and even during my internships. It was very public speaking heavy. It was very writing heavy, and those are 2 skills that I use every single day. I'm going to talk about my role in CS. Bob heads up our CS org here in the U.S., and I want to talk about what we do toward the end of this slide here. During my time at Bentley, I interned at Brown Brothers Harriman. It's a private financial bank, and I did that in between my junior and senior year. I was on the corporate actions loans team. Sounds quite boring, but I did a lot of Excel work. And I realized at the time that I really loved coding. I worked on a team. I was performing coding in Excel, not super, difficult tasks per se, but I was increasing the efficiency of our team, and they seemed really stoked about the material I was bringing them. So I kind of started to piece together at that point that, okay, I like the tech aspect of it. I was a managerial economics major here. There's not really a very specific I guess, job title that you go for with that kind of major. So it's not like I was going to be an economist. So I really had my pick of different, options, right? I think I was pretty multifaceted with that degree. I ended up accepting a job at FactSet. Does anyone know what FactSet is? It's in the trading room. Has anyone seen it? Used it for a project? Anyone? Okay, so FactSet, it's a financial software platform. Pretty much anyone in the investment world will use FactSet and or Bloomberg, right? So you might be familiar with Bloomberg. Maybe some of you have gotten certified with that keyboard in the trading room. So I worked there for about 2 years. I was a consultant. And at the time, I would say customer success in the grand scheme of things is a pretty new term. At the time, FactSet did not have customer success as a department. So I was a consultant, but very much so a customer success manager. And essentially that meant I was customer facing. I was meeting with clients every single day. I worked with very large investment firms. I had a book of accounts to myself. I represented the biggest investment firm that I represented. I was working with 185 people. I was also performing some work for them, right? If they needed some financial model built with FactSet, I would assist with that. I would walk them through it and assist them with the project. So I did that for 2 years, and I realized during that time that, hey, I still love the tech, don't love the finance. So once again, I looked for another role. And I accepted a role at Catchpoint. Catchpoint, if you're not familiar with it, it's an observability platform. So Catchpoint essentially will tell an organization if their website crashed, if it went down, right, and why the website went down, and making sure that we get it back up as quickly as possible. I was a customer success manager at Catchpoint as well. I'm going to refer back to the fact that CS is a new term. I'll describe, I'm getting there, but I'll tell you about what I think CS should mean. Each company kind of views it a little bit differently though. So I accepted this customer success manager role with CatchPoint, and it was a little bit more focused on the sales side of things. So I wasn't necessarily fully anticipating that. I was the person that was getting renewals. When an organization wanted to renew with CatchPoint, I was getting a signature on that paperwork, and I was making sure that customers were happy enough to renew. I was not feet on the ground in the product. I wasn't the person who was training the customer. I wasn't super well versed and comfortable with the product, and I really, really missed that about my role at FactSet. So I am like Goldilocks. The first 2 out of college were not quite right, and now I found my perfect fit at LeanIX. So Bob started talking about what we do a little bit, and I'm gonna kind of go in a bit more depth, not super in depth in a minute, but I am a customer success manager at LeanIX. I started as a CSM. I am now a customer success onboarding manager, so we threw one more word in the mix into my title recently. A customer success manager is an individual that makes a customer successful, but there's a lot more that goes into it. We are the primary point of contact for a customer, ensuring that they are experiencing the maximum level of value from the product that we are providing them with, right? So I meet with very large organizations. I still do. I work with enterprise accounts. I'm working with kind of all walks of life amongst those accounts. Sometimes I work with C-level execs. I prepare executive business reviews to review all of the progress that the team has performed within the tool, reviewing that, setting goals, and ensuring that we're all aligned to meet those goals. So I am providing guidance and recommendations regarding the product, right? And making sure that the customer is successful. Recently at LeanIX, we decided to build out an onboarding team because we have an influx of customers who are onboarding. They've just signed on with their LeanIX contract. They're super excited. They're ready to hit the ground running. They don't have any data in their workspace within our software just yet. So I am now the individual that teaches them. I have a train the trainer approach. I teach them about our product and our best practice, and I make sure that they're successful. One of the main reasons why we did build out the onboarding team as well is because previously the customer success manager was responsible for working with existing customers who are super well versed in our product. They love it, they use it every day, they know it like the back of their hands, and then they were switching, right? The CSM was switching to discussing with a new customer. So this gives the CSM some time back. It also gives us the ability to focus on giving some extra TLC to a new customer, right? So enough about me. I just wanted to explain that there. Before I get into this analogy that we see on the slide, anyone who has a smartphone, can any person in this room tell me off the top of your head without looking at your phone, how many apps you have on your phone? What each is used for, and if you pay for any of those apps without looking at it. No, me neither. I still get surprised when I'm charged for Spotify every month. So essentially, if you're one individual, right, and you can't tell me how many apps you have on your phone off the top of your head, how many applications do you think an entire enterprise, so an org like what Bob mentioned, right, out of our Fortune 500, how many applications do you think a very large company like that has and uses on a day-to-day basis? Anyone want to take a guess?
40.
Higher?
100.
Higher? One more guess? About 5,000. That's pretty much the average for an enterprise organization, 5,000 applications, right? So you can imagine that's pretty complex. We're referring to that as your IT infrastructure, right? Bob threw that term out before. That's the entire landscape that an organization has. And it's really important, right? A job of a CIO, again, like Bob had mentioned, this is all going to connect in a second, right? Someone like a CIO needs to make sure that they're making the right investments. So what happens if you have two teams, maybe you have a marketing team and a finance team within an org, and they're each using a different application, but for the same exact use case, and you don't even know it. So our software will give you the ability to see everything, within your tech infrastructure or your landscape, all in one place, provide you with insights about who's using those applications, and it's more than applications, but I'll stick to that. Who's using those, what they're being used for, and then you might have an opportunity to say, why do we have two applications that are being used for the same reason? Maybe we could cut one. Which one do we cut? So we refer to ourselves as the Google Maps for software because we show you where you are right now within your landscape. You have the ability to provide us with insights and we'll generate very helpful views. And I know it's a little bit tough to see, but we'll show you reports based on your current landscape. You'll be able to generate reports about what you want your landscape to be in the future, and you'll be able to make business-driven decisions based on our best practice to get you to that desired state, right? So you see where you are, we'll help you get to where you want to go. And CS is very much so involved in that because we are directing the customer to provide us within our software with their data and set it up in a very specific way so that they can generate these insights and make better decisions. Okay, and I know I keep referring to customers. So here are some of the customers that we work with. At this point, we have over 1,000. And at our organization in general, I think I just checked today, we have over 600 employees at this point, both, we're worldwide, right? Bob said we're founded in Germany, but we have a US team as well, obviously. I will note that in my experience, and I haven't been out of school that long, to be fair, but I really love the fact that our customers are collaborative. We are a collaborative software tool, but our customers are also collaborative. They speak at our events because they love our product and they love the support that we give them. And they speak with each other. So something that's very unique, when I worked at FactSet and I worked at Catchpoint, I wasn't necessarily allowed to disclose who I was working with, right? But now it could be the case where, let's say I support both Discover and Workday. And Workday asks me a question. They say, you know, I have this new use case. I really want to use LeanIX for it. We haven't done it just yet, and we really could use some guidance. I can provide them with what I think would be best, and they'll accept that in a sense, right? But sometimes it's worth it to set up a conversation between our customers. So maybe I'll think back and I'll think, Discover did this, and they were very successful. So I'll reach out to my contact at Discover and ask if they'd be interested in connecting with Workday over a discussion, right? So this is something that happens quite often, and it always benefits both sides of the conversation. Typically, I wouldn't be present for that conversation. They'd be able to talk together, but it's really awesome. We also have our digital community, which essentially got revamped quite recently. And it almost operates like a Reddit. So customers could go to the community, they could post topics, conversations, questions, and talk to each other in a forum-like setting. Okay, and we do have a video here. I think the sound should be shared. I'm going to try to play it. All right, so that video was showing some highlights of our enterprise architecture management product. That's our flagship product that all of our customers tend to leverage. Let's see if I could get out of this now. No. All right, work for tech. Let's see if I can figure it out.
Yes, Steve.
Let's see. All right, okay, cool. Okay, so I have a customer profile up here. Adidas is a customer of LeanIX. What comes to mind when you hear about Adidas? Does anyone want to throw some words out? Yeah, go ahead. Yep. Anyone else? Yep. Sneakers? Sports. Yep. Okay, so I kind of think of the same when I hear Adidas, right? Soccer, sports, you name it. I have their strategy up here. Two words that stick out, right? You're thinking of this as a company involved with clothing and sports. There are the words digital and innovation up here. So things are going to start to tie together now, right? Why would Adidas want these words incorporated in their strategy? Does anyone have any ideas? Why would they want to focus on innovation and digital? Okay, well, going to the title of our presentation, all companies are tech companies. So they need to have this strategy in place, because it's not just the fact that they're selling clothes and they're involved with sports, right? They're also going to be marketing. They're going to be producing ads. They have commercials. There's a lot of different aspects, that you might not think of off the top of your head that are going to require tech infrastructure. They're going to need to have applications to perform these specific, in these specific areas of their business, right? And I'm almost done. So Bob put this quote up here. I don't know if you want to speak to it a little bit, if I'll steal your thunder, but tech is going to be inevitable, right? So we need to skate to where the puck is going, not just to where it's been. So we need to, as a customer success org, we need to know about what our customers are interested in, right? Where they're going. And as we've seen through this presentation, almost all of them, if not all of them, are focused on tech. They're investing in it, they're interested in it, and they're incorporating tech into their strategy. So we need to be aware of that. We need to set the customer up for success and guide them and make recommendations to help them reach their goals. Anything else you'd add? I think we're toward the end.
Yeah, just the one comment that came up before in terms of why is innovation hard is because it never stops. So for our CS practice, and CS means customer success, what we're always doing is asking, where's the customer heading, right? We don't work on them like professional services or a consultant. You're there for a project, you come and you go and you say goodbye and wish them well. We're there for the long haul. Right? Our customers sign 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year contracts. And we have to always be thinking about what's their next move, right? So good analogy, local, former Bill Belichick was always one step ahead. Not anymore, it's kind of fallen behind, but he was playing chess as everyone else was playing checkers. We have to be thinking about where our customers are going, right? And so we're always trying to be one step ahead. You're working on one problem, we're already providing recommendations for the next problem. So that's really what our team does with our customers.
All right, so I think we have time for questions, if anyone has any questions.
Let's take some questions. Please stand up and then shout out. Otherwise, we'll have questions of you. You're shy, aren't you? 3 people stand up. 1, 2, 3. Please stand up. Yes. First question, what parts of what they do could you see yourself doing in your career, in your future career?
I like doing Excel stuff, so I think a minor in computer science.
Analyzing how technology is going to affect where our company is going.
Choosing like the best option for like different applications to do the like similar functions instead of like more cost benefit or something.
Good. Thanks, Paul. Do you have an idea about what, I have a question.
If you could go back and change anything along your career path, then what would you change? If you would change anything.
You want to go first? Ladies first? I know my answer, but.
You could go first then, I'll
All
think.
right. So I graduated in 2002, so I spent, 21, 22 years working. So I mentioned in the beginning, the majority of my career has been at startups. I spent 2 years at a non-startup, and that was 2 years too many for me. Personally, I like startups because you can do a lot of different things and wear many different hats. Yes, we're in CS, but I also help the sales team, right? I'll jump in, help the marketing team. So I don't have a box that I work in, and I don't punch in at 9 and leave at 5. I'm a person who likes to be busy. I have 4 boys. I'm always busy, right? At a bigger organization, I felt like I had a lot of free time. It was fantastic to do some day trading for those finance majors, but that got boring really quick. So for me, I wish I spent those 2 years back in a startup.
I think for me, I wish, it's funny, I was saying to Bob, I wish I would have gone to sessions like this. I think I really didn't know what I wanted to do even after I'd accepted a job at FactSet, and I accepted my job in October of my senior year. I wish I'd known a little bit sooner and kind of like just gotten out there a little bit more, maybe spent some more time in the sandbox when I started to realize that, hey, I like coding with Excel, or hey, I found my class, my first semester, my senior year, that was involving SQL and a project with coding. I found that to be interesting. I feel like I had a missed opportunity where I could have used my time better here a little bit to really hone in on those skills and figure things out a little bit more before I started working. But it all worked out. Yeah.
Do you think Bentley set you up for life after college?
Yes. Yeah, it's funny. So I'm a first generation college student. My parents ask me all the time, if I could come back here, would I? And I totally would. I think the network that we have at Bentley is outstanding. Bob went to Bentley. That's something that we talked about during when I interviewed, right? Bob interviewed me, we talked about how we went to Bentley. We just hired 2 recent Bentley grads, so, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you guys come to events like this, you talk to us. I think reaching out on LinkedIn also, I haven't ever reached out to a Bentley alum on LinkedIn and not gotten a response. So I think the network in itself is powerful, but also the classes that we took definitely, I feel, set me up. Even if it didn't, at the time I was taking an elective that I didn't necessarily think was going to benefit me in the long run, it definitely did. I think every single one of my classes, even accounting and finance 1, where I didn't do so well and had to retake it, I think every single one of my classes, at least in my experience, I could say has benefited me in some way, and I remember something from each one.
Yeah, for me it's similar. I wish I've done more things like this. So Bentley, I think, prepares students very well because they offer opportunities to speak to people, to connect to people out in the working world, internships, industry engagement program, the career office. They have a lot of these opportunities that I actually didn't take a lot advantage of, right? But now, on being on the other side, the employer side, when I hire people, I come back to Bentley knowing they're preparing the students. Yes, I didn't take advantage of everything I should have. Shame on me, I learned. But now, I'll give you an example. I had a on-site career fair at our LeanIX office in Watertown, right? I invited students from 5 different schools. We expected about 20 people to show, right? 5 people showed up out of the 20, all Bentley students. No other schools showed up. BC, Northeastern, Babson, Brandeis. They all said they show up. No one showed up. Bentley students showed up. We hired one, right? So that's kind of where I'm always coming back here, knowing they prepare you well, you guys show up to things, you come prepared. That doesn't happen at all of the schools. So my recommendation is to come to more things like this, even if you sit there, absorb the information, that's fine too.